All right, so let's talk about Facebook and social media sharing options because Ed's gonna take us through that.
Okay. Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm going to give a quick discussion today. And before we even get into it, my primary focus today is going to be the Facebook sharing using the Facebook plugin. So we're going to get there very quickly. However, I wanted to sort of give an overview. So there was a question in the forums in our now very long post about topics. And they asked about social media, and I think they called it social media / sharing. And so I said, yeah, that's an interesting topic. It's a difficult topic. We should address that. And so the first question is what is social media? What does it mean to you? To me, it means typically Facebook, Twitter, email, perhaps Instagram, Google+, not so much short message. What is SMS? Short message. See, I don't remember what it stands for. But SMS, sort of like old school tweets.
Short message system.
Short message system.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sergey. And then more. There's all kinds of applications and tools out there for sharing. But the primary ones that people are thinking of when they say social media on the Corona site is Facebook and Twitter. So then the next question that arises is, what are my options? How do I use these things? How do I share content out of my apps? And this has evolved over time. If you've been in the community since day one, then you saw the day when there was no social media, and then soon there was social media. And we've gone along, and currently the methods for sharing, hopefully I've got them all, are there is sort of the general category, which is available via the native show pop-up call. And you can pass in a target, and I may be using the wrong terminology here. I forget what the arguments are called, of social, and then a sub-target of sharing, Twitter, Facebook, and the list goes on. I didn't list it, and I'll get to it in a minute, but as far as the general social pop-up goes, Android supports one that is called sharing, and when you run that, what you get is you get a pop-up like this, where you get to select basically any of the applications that are installed on your Android device to share from. And then that
Excuse me, I'd interrupt you. Where did you get this sharing ID from? Because I never seen it before. As far as I know, it's on Android, social plugin does not care about what you provide as service string. It always pop-ups this message for sharing. No?
It could very well. It could very well. See, I've seen some inconsistent behavior with this.
Yes, when I invoke social plugin with like Facebook or Twitter on Android, it always pops up this sharing dialog the standard way.
Exactly. That's exactly correct.
So it doesn't care about what you provide.
It doesn't necessarily care about it, but this is the way the examples were shown. I'll show you my code in a minute. But there's a number of examples, so this whole discussion is kind of complicated and can be a little confusing. And to top it off, we're not going to dig deep into it today because I do want to focus on Facebook. However, in the examples that I've seen and the code that I've written, there is a sharing target. Share or sharing. I may have typed it wrong now that I'm thinking about it. We'll look at the code. The point is that's an Android-only thing, and then it pops up the generic sharing dialog, which is a list of all the applications the user has installed, not the ones you wish they had installed. It's whatever they've got that is registered with the system for sharing. So it's a catch as catch can kind of solution. On iOS, again, you can use the native show pop-up, and in this case, you can specifically request Twitter, Facebook, and some other ones, and those will pop up the application if it is installed and registered with the system again. So the key here is basically the user has to have these things installed on their system for you to get access to them. There is a new plugin that sort of adds to the social plugin capability, and this is for iOS only. I have no experience using this in my own applications, but I've seen there's a blog post. It's worth mentioning that after the show I'm going to commit a whole bunch of code, and in this code will all be on the GitHub, my GitHub that I have created for this for the Corona Geek sharing. And there is a README file at the root that has links to all the different articles and the source code if it is external. And then I've split this up into my examples and Corona's examples. I'll show all this in a minute. But the point is all the stuff I'm talking about here is available for you to download after the show and run and test. And I don't guarantee 100% functionality. There have been some issues with the code, but the code is out there for you to at least see how it was done in the blog post or the forum post done by me, etc. So we have activity. The activity plugin, what that does is basically it pops up something similar to this. It doesn't look exactly the same, but this is for iOS. And again, it's going to be a collection of the applications that the user has installed that can share content. In addition to that, not to be talked about at all today other than to mention it, is the custom URL schemes approach, which is basically where you set up a URL that the application will recognize under iOS or Android to do something special with, to try to launch a specific application or service, etc. And it's kind of a complicated topic, so I wanted to mention that it's available. There is a link to some discussion of this in the forums, in the resources that I'm providing, but I'm not going to talk about it other than that today. So the major one, the one that I would like to talk about, and I think that will solve a lot of people's problems with regards to getting information from Facebook and posting to Facebook, is the Facebook plugin, which I refer to, and I think it was one time referred to as the graph library. The point of this is that Corona provides a plugin, and what that allows us to do is hook up to a Facebook application, which is not the same as the application you're running on your device. It's an application that lives on the Facebook servers, and it is under your account, and we'll talk about how to set that up today. And the application on the Facebook server is used to get permissions to read other people's information, to get their friends lists, to make posts for them, etc. And there's a number of permission levels that you can get, and this has changed over time. But for me, with regards to Facebook, using the Facebook plugin is the most robust and most likely to work method over any of these other choices. One of the problems I should mention with the social and activity pop-ups plugins is that there's always limitations on the things that you can do. For example, one of the major limitations for Facebook is pre-populating the message. At this time, and people feel free to correct me because this stuff changes, at this time you're not allowed to pre-populate the message for Facebook. You can do so for Twitter and emails, but not Facebook. Oh, and I failed to mention. Go ahead.
Yes, that's right. You are not allowed to pre-populate messages on Facebook, and if people see that you do it, you might get rejected.
Okay. So one thing I failed to mention was native show pop-up also has an email target, so you can pop up the email client that the user has installed on their device.
I want to add more about social. So
okay,
what you were talking about sharing, on Android it actually doesn't care what you provide as a service. It can be any string or nothing at all. It will show this generic pop-up for choosing what to share with. And what sharing you got from is not for show pop-up, but for can show pop-up function that checks if something is available on the user system. So you can provide their Twitter to check if the Twitter application is installed, Facebook if Facebook is installed, or you can type the share, not sharing, share, to check if anything is installed. It's
Yeah, I
No,
thought I typed that wrong. I was
that's
typing notes up pretty quickly before the show.
that's playing on Android's whole intent system, right?
Yeah, and another major, not issue, but note on iOS social pop-up is Twitter and Facebook applications must be installed to use them. So if user doesn't install and logged in, not installed, if they are logged in on iOS device in settings, then you can show and use social pop-up. If user didn't do it, you can't.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is one, the share, not sharing. Two, the Twitter, Facebook, etc. on Android.
And share only for can show pop-up, not for show pop-up, but only for can show pop-up.
Yeah, roger that. And regardless of device, Android or iOS, it's not just if the application is installed. No, I think on Android it just is installed. You don't have to be logged in.
On Android is installed. On iOS it must be in settings.
Yes, you must
Twitter
be
and
logged
Facebook.
into the application for it to be accessible as a sharing avenue. Okay, good. Excellent.